Pulled my children out of mainstream education in the UK this year so that we could travel the world full time. And I wanted to share a couple of tips and some advice if you're dreaming about doing the same thing. For a British family currently living in Thailand, I've got 2 children, one is 5.5 and one is 2. My oldest son was in year 1 at school before we left. I went through the deregistration process with the school and council. The first bit of advice would be to not overthink this process. I may have just been really lucky with his school, but it was so simple. I sent 1 email to the school with the request to deregister, and I replied to 1 email to the council, which I actually don't even think you need to do. Since telling them that I left the country, we've never had a follow-up. My second tip would be to embrace flexibility. Sometimes when you're travelling, plans just don't go to plan. And the benefit to homeschooling is that you can be flexible with your schedule. We have a routine and a plan that works for us, but as long as we're learning, everything's flexible. The third thing I'd say is that school doesn't look the same for everybody. Especially coming from England, as a nation, most of us are tunnel visioned into thinking that children must sit in a classroom to be learning. I actually received a comment today saying that because we're travelling, my children aren't going to be gaining any life skills. I would actually argue the opposite. Things like communication skills, empathy, self-awareness, creative thinking and resilience. These are skills that children are learning just in everyday life. Throwing my children into the real world where there's language barriers and different cultures, sure, their life skills are going to be just fine. One of my biggest worries before we left was the social side. My advice would be, as long as you're willing to put yourself out there, everybody you meet who's travelling is in a similar boat. We're all looking for friends, we're all looking to make connections, and most of the time we are each other's community. Opportunities are endless and you can stay connected.